thinking maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Hopefully we are. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, the return, the last tango in Pompano. Let me double check with my associate producer, make sure, or actually I'll check with my own, because I want to make sure that the sound is right. Oh, sound on, yes. See, it's my fault. It really is.
It's always your fault.
It's always my fault. It really is. Yeah, because you see, and then the big gap in time, and then, yeah, no, maybe, hopefully this is what you guys are seeing. Uh-huh. Oh, no, sound was off, sound is on. There. All right, thanks, Frank. You've been a real help. Not confusing at all.
Thanks, Frank.
Welcome to the show. How can you tell we haven't done it in 4 months? Because, I don't know.
Frank, who are you taking first?
Listen, don't piss Frank off. He's our only viewer, and and he's also the guy that got me this ring. By the way, congratulations again, because the Panthers are the champs, Stanley Cup champions for the 2023-2024 season. It's especially a beautiful, beautiful championship because we went through Boston and New York to get it. So, yeah, I love it anytime that we beat an 06 team, even in the regular season, because these 06 teams, their fans are all like, we're an original 06 franchise. And they treat everybody like, oh, you're from Florida. It's like, yeah, what happened when Tampa won their first champions, when they won their first Stanley Cup? How'd that work out for you? And by the way, you're talking smack while you're in Florida, moved to Florida. So anyway, I could do this for an hour. But anyway, seated across from me, scrambling to get his act together on his laptop, I have got Matty the Maz Masaracchio.
What's going on?
What's going on with you
people? Hey, it's almost football season. It technically is football season, right?
Well,
I mean, they're talking about it. We had a draft. We had a few players taken.
There is no off season.
Well, yeah, it pretty much is all year round, right?
True.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of movements, a lot of storylines that are happening that will continue to happen. But it's just good to be back talking some sports.
Oh, 100%. Seated next to him, resplendent in red.
Yeah.
Wow, you are just a picture of chromatic excellence.
I did it on purpose. I knew where I was going to be sitting. You know, we wanted it to link up. So, you know, here we are.
I got 3 shades of red going on behind you.
That's right.
That's it. Three shades of it. Now there's an empty microphone next to you. I even got a nice fancy all leather seated drafting chair that would contain one Mr. Andrew Lawson, but he's too busy. I'm going to say probably losing money gambling on golf. Because is he that good of a golf player?
I'm not aware of how good he is at golf. But no, in terms of there being a wager on the game itself, I'm hoping he put himself around golfing buddies of his similar abilities.
Yeah,
so,
he'll bet
no matter what those
anything.
abilities actually are. But
he'll bet on anything. Who are you kidding?
But I got Andrew minus 130 coming into that round today, so we'll see how that turns out.
And
minus 130.
Minus 130.
And that was versus the field.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's not a lot of faith.
Yeah.
So
especially if he's keeping score.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So there was a lot that happened over our hiatus, over our break. Besides the wonderful Panthers run to the Stanley Cup championship, we crowned an NBA champ. The Celtics finally broke through. Now we can stop hearing their fans cry about how they got robbed in the championship round. Okay, you got what was that? Their 18th title now.
There's
the
a lot.
18th banner they hung up.
They have a lot of titles.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Go Boston.
Yeah.
Wicked Pesa.
Yeah. Well, people expected them to fall off, you know.
Oh yeah, come on. Especially as Heat fans, because what have we done to them the last 2 out of the last 3 years?
Yeah. Just
You
funny.
didn't need that heart, did you?
It's funny when fans throw around the word, oh, they're going to choke, they're going to this, they're going to that.
But they had.
It
They had
comes
choked
down-
like 3 times.
Well, it comes down to talent, and
Yeah.
they are very talented. Their bench is deep. They've got, obviously, 2 of the better 5, 6, 7, 8 players in the league. And they were dominant, And the East was a little bit beat up, I mean, there was no Embiid going into the series. He could have been a difference maker for the Sixers. The Heat dealt with injuries down the stretch, like you mentioned, them being kind of a sore in their back. But Boston was dominant in the East, and the West almost fell apart, it seemed like. They were like kind of redirecting where they thought the best team was. And as they got along in advance, they became the best team. And then Dallas all of a sudden had a great defense, and it just didn't play out like that. So
Boston definitely has the best overall team in basketball, even coming into next year. If there isn't any other major trades or anything happening, they are as a team. That whole team is just amazing. They all play defense. They all can score. Somebody else steps up every single night to put 20 on the board on top of Tatum's and Brown.
yeah. Derek White played amazing.
Yeah, players like that will just come in there in 4 playoff games, give you 25, and just help boost it. And I don't even know if the hurdle that East is weak stuff, and I will admit they're not the West, but they beat up on the best team in the West too. I mean, they just went into the finals and whooped them, bro.
Well,
so I don't even think it really matters where they were coming out of.
Milwaukee was the team in the East, but losing Drew Holiday, that dude can play some defense. And going to Boston on a team that already played good defense.
And Giannis was no great shakes.
Well,
he was playing banged up all year.
Yeah, but again, the
Part of the game is staying healthy, though, too, man. You can't blame Boston for being healthy.
But the Drew Holiday trade is, again, him and Derek White were just unbelievable. They shut you down. Both guys play defense.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, having that at the point like that, and both guys can contribute offensively, too. Derek White had a huge series offensively. But
my big question is, do you guys think that Jason Tatum should have won the MVP? Finals MVP?
No.
So you think Jaylen Brown?
No, I think Jaylen Brown was
Deserving.
justifiable. Let's put it this way: I watched the majority of 2 of the games. Okay, and both of them Celtics wins, and yeah, Brown looks like the clear-cut alpha on the team.
Like the aggressor.
Yeah, he looks like the alpha on the team. He just really does. I mean, if you want to call what would it be, Jordan Pippen type of a situation?
didn't he catch the All-Star snub, too?
I believe so.
Didn't kiss the
Or
end
was
of
that last year?
No, I think
It was an
this year.
All-NBA snub.
Something. It was an all-something
It was a snub. It was a snub
Yeah.
scheme. He got
Something,
snubbed
yeah.
somewhere.
So he traded that trophy for the NBA Finals trophy. That's a pretty good trade.
They both were deserving
Yeah.
of it. I just never seen a player lead in points, rebounds, and assists and not win the Finals MVP. But I guess when you shoot 35% or whatever it was,
It's
that
all
he
about
shot for the
volume.
series,
Yeah, I
but
mean, he touched the ball every time.
That's true.
So his usage rate was the highest in the series.
It
But
wasn't
it should
bad.
be. It should be. I mean, he's the best player on the floor. But those numbers better match that usage. And if they don't, and you're looking at just well, not just numbers, but if numbers are a part of the equation, those numbers didn't merit him being MVP. Holiday. What's his name? Did everything.
Tatum.
Sorry. Tatum. No, Tatum didn't do everything. Jaylen Brown did everything. So played defense, scored when they had to get points, and just, was unbelievable. So
Yeah, they dominated like very few teams do.
hey, by the way, anybody heard anything about the Otani story? Wow, not a word. Huh? They put that to bed.
What, the
really,
gambling
They
thing?
really put that bed
Yeah,
quickly.
well, they
huh?
found the guilty guy.
Yeah.
Listen. Let's
They're
face
going to put him in
facts.
Epstein's cell.
Right. Let's face facts. Everybody was fishing around. Otani's got a gambling problem. Oh, Otani gambled on baseball. Guess what? He's a nerd. He's a nerd athlete. All he does is play baseball. He lives, breathes, eats, shits, and smells baseball. Okay? That's his life. That's as simple as that. It's what he does is what he did, and the other guy was gambling, and he was using inside information, but there is no there. There is no fire. You're trying to put smoke on a guy that there's no way.
And you're trying to explain his personality, which we have no basis on at all, in terms of what we think he does when he's not playing baseball.
He's not a gambler. Stop it.
I mean, I'm not going to bring culture into this, but I think I could probably say it's safe to say that at least in the Asian community, and especially over there, it's
You would think a Chinese. No Japanese.
It's the rules are different. The rules are not the same as it is here.
He's no Korea.
So
True.
so it's
My
there
funny
are
Asian. My
do
Asian.
not at this level, because
Accent.
again, I cannot imagine a person with that much wealth, notoriety, fame, that all of anything is put upon just one person. So unless this kid was smart enough to hack into his accounts, get access to all his information, cover every footprint,
He had access.
get it to the sources where they got it to digitally.
He had access.
Come on, there's
He
no
had access.
right. Okay, so bottom line is, I say BS to a good part of it. I'm just saying that They will continue to keep it quiet until it becomes a memory only of most of us, if any.
Is this
and
the Jewish space lasers thing again?
That's all. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
So back to
Fine.
football. Back to football.
I mean, John, you're Jewish. Is that a Jewish space laser thing or
John
something?
is definitely
John is
not Jewish.
No, it's like,
Hello.
I
Throwing curveballs just
I
because you're talking
live to
baseball.
make
Hold on.
people uncomfortable.
John Linderman
Yeah,
Just because I got an MAN after it is like
Yeah.
it's like my last name is Witz. No, I'm not, doesn't make me Jewish or Polish. All right, so we let's see. Okay, so let's move up off.
So
of
F. Otani, F. Who else are we effing
Oh my God, you're
from this point?
well. Up until yesterday, everybody was kind of effing the Yankees because they had lost 14 of 18.
Well, I
the
predicted
Yankee
that.
machine was going.
Have the Yankees really lost 14 of 18?
They lost 14 of their last 18 games.
Give me 1 minute.
They just won one, and yesterday with they got a new rookie.
They got the
that-
home run leader, too. How you losing
Yeah,
14 of
well-
18 games? Nobody else is doing nothing, huh?
It's called pitching.
Yeah.
Oh, they got bad.
Bad.
Well,
one.
they don't have-
Listen,
they don't have bad
in that
pitching.
body of work, you also see errors. Errors going to count for at least a couple. Okay, but they were. Not only is this team balanced top to bottom, okay, but they're also balanced in the bad top to bottom. They find a myriad of ways to lose. So to me, that's on the manager.
Well, they went from the best pitching overall to not necessarily the best pitching, and part of it is because
Garrett Cole,
no, he hadn't even pitched yet. He only had a couple of starts now since he's been back.
right?
A couple of pitchers, Schmidt and Gill, they're young pitchers,
Right.
And they haven't had the amount of innings on them that people
yeah,
were
I
projecting
know,
them to
I know.
have. So their last few starts, they've struggled, and they've been not as dominant as they were early in the year. Injuries in the bullpen, Judge missed some time. But
Yeah,
other
but
players.
Jake Papalardo is watching. I have to say something bad. I mean, Danny Heimbender is watching, so
understand.
you have to
understand.
razz him.
I understand, but listen, the issue is that they're.
I still think they're going to win the World Series. I really do.
Yeah, they're not. Glaber.
Yeah, they're
not.
not.
Glaber.
Is this normal, though, for a good team in any baseball season to start to go through a slump like this and then just pick it up and win, I don't know, 20 out of 25 out of their next? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the All-Star break is in a week.
Rough spots happen.
People are, teams are, like we talked about football having 4 different seasons, because it seems like every 3 weeks or so things readjust, things change, injury, stuff like that. Baseball can be 2 halves. Could be pre-All-Star break and post-All-Star break. So right now you're coming up on
Yeah,
the break.
100%.
So like teams we talked about, like the Yankees, they've got some injuries. Teams like the Phillies have injuries now. Harper, Schwarber, Turnbull. They're limping a little bit, right? Getting towards the All-Star
They
break.
got a couple of ball boys out. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so
just-
their teams are reaching, right
Okay.
now. Plus their pitching staffs may be a little bit tired right now. Their bullpens are tired.
wait, Matt, tell these people this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
hey, bullpens are tired. Bullpens are beat up right now. So,
How were they before they started this losing streak?
Well, not just that. Oh, who would the
They
Yankees?
were like one of the top teams?
And they still are by record one of
Yeah,
the top
they're still
teams.
a top team. I'm
Yeah.
just razzing, man. I'm just razzing. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
So I figured this might be normal. Every season there's a good team that goes through a slump and then just
Yeah,
comes back
well,
to being a really good team
all right.
again.
Case in point, okay. At the club on the mic, I was starting to talk smack about, and this was right before the rough spot. I was talking smack. Hey, why don't we just have the Dodgers and the Yankees play the World Series now, and then everybody else can go and play for third place?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, one of our bartenders, Erica, who is an avid Baltimore Orioles fan, and the Orioles are kicking ass. The Orioles are looking for another balanced team, another strong team.
That's my team in the American.
Yeah, exactly. That's his team, see? And she immediately turned and go, well, I don't know, the Orioles. I'm like, okay, easy. Oh, my God.
They're really good.
You baseball fans are hardcore. That's one thing I like about baseball
Yeah,
fans.
they're
It's like you insulted their mama.
Yeah.
Especially if they're contenders or if they're long-time, teams with excellent culture. It's like, oh, what do you mean? What? That's why I go after Yankee fans all the time. Now they just go, yeah, get out of here, you busting balls. But hey, it's a lot of fun. Me, I'm pathetic because I'm not even a Marlins fan, but it's just like we have token baseball down here.
I was at the game yesterday.
And how was token baseball?
About 8,000 worth, I'd say. Maybe.
Wow, that's
Oh,
a big
that's
crowd.
more than any than I
Were
would
they,
have
giving, were they giving tickets away?
No, I mean, but tickets were cheap. Like, we got seats.
Free Cuban food?
I think $32, no fees for two.
I'll come for free Cuban food.
I threw a picture up there. I didn't put it on the
I know,
on
I saw the
sports
picture.
desk, but we were
So
like,
$32.
Well, sorry,
for
I
two
just
people.
saw your
Yeah.
wife. I just saw your wife. I just didn't look at you.
we were like maybe 15 to 20 rows back, home plate.
Wow, that was that close.
Yeah, we remember right
I
there.
mean, I know you had a lot of blue seats behind you.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I went to a game where I could have swore this is back, but it was also when the Miami Heat had LeBron and they were in the playoffs against Chicago, I believe. But still, there was like
It's been
100
10
people.
years.
No, that was one of the. What I remember looking around, going, "There's literally nobody here. Like I don't even know how you built this
well,
stadium. There's nobody here."
Listen, the only city that's worse about showing up on time for a sporting event is Los Angeles. That's the only other city that's worse.
well, listen, not
mean,
Dodger
they're
baseball
terrible.
games. Dodger baseball games, they're still pouring into the third inning. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it is. Actually, we went to a couple of Giants games. We were there too, and it was the people are walking down that boardwalk for probably it seemed like the entire game.
La dee da. We're just
California's
here.
a little different.
We're just here for the food and
Yeah.
the scene.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, also, I mean, turning to soccer. I know you don't want to turn to soccer, but
Quickly.
turning to soccer quickly.
Very.
Messi's been doing really well with Miami. And
So,
he's
football
been-
starts in
he's
3 now.
been- And Copa America. We have our Final Four in the Copa America.
Ooh, that's good.
Which it's what is it? It's France and Spain, the two heavyweights, versus, and then the Netherlands versus England. So none of those are Team USA. None of those are Argentina. I don't care. Actually, I do care. I think it's a really, really great Final Four. It's been a very, very interesting tournament. I'm glad that Messi isn't playing anymore, so he has a chance to rest, so that he can come back to the MLS for the stretch run. Get nice and rested. Take a couple of weeks off. We'll be all right. But and then NFL free agency, foreshadowing. Because after we take a quick break, we are going to come back and do the beginnings of your fantasy football rundown. But in NFL free agency was very interesting. I mean, my Miami Dolphins, our Miami Dolphins, if you will, John.
Yes, sir.
We it was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, this offseason,
Yeah.
a lot of mother, and then all right, they're putting pieces back in. Wow, I was mad
Watching-
that first month.
Watching that first week of free agency,
Wilkins is
they're like,
huge.
damn it, ah.
We signed our coach, and we got.
Oh, yeah.
we got Justin Fields.
Good job, good help. You got Patrick Queen. Quit crying.
Next,
Quit crying.
Justin Fields,
You got Patrick Queen.
and we
Okay,
signed
but
our coach.
I will go on record as saying that the Saquon Barkley move
We were talking yesterday.
is going to be one of the
Yeah.
most consequential moves. This power shift. I honestly,
I love it.
I'm ready to throw money behind the Philadelphia Eagles
Yeah.
to win it all. I am. I just am.
Give me
I like
some, give me some Jalen Hurts this year.
Yeah, well, not only that, but their defense. Besides the fact of old man Vic Fangio, he's also got 4 second-year players that were high draft choices on that defense that are all. So he can't complain about young guys.
Their whole team is really good.
Yeah,
Wait a
they're
second.
top to bottom, they're really
Hold
good.
on. So
Huh?
You mentioned defense. Their
What?
defense was terrible last year.
Right.
They went from one of the best defenses
Well,
to
they were hit and miss. Yeah.
2 years ago they were the best defense.
Right.
Most sacks,
Right.
most pressures, most.
Right.
Last year they were terrible.
Right.
They went from the best to terrible.
Right.
In a year.
Right.
It's tough to do that.
Right.
So let's see all these second-year guys.
Right.
How in 1 year they turn things
Right.
around quickly.
A lot of growing pains on that defense.
I like him more on
Lot
the
of growing
offensive
pains.
side than the defensive side.
Oh,
so
okay, fine.
I'm not giving him a
Craig.
title yet, but we're talking fantasy. So
Crown him. Just crown him.
I do like the offense.
We do remember who won the Super Bowl.
Can
right?
we keep their defense bad so the offense stays even better? How about that?
Listen, you
That's
know
what I
that's
want.
that's what Goodell
Yeah,
wants.
I want-
You know that's what Goodell
That's
wants.
what I want if I
Roger
had Jalen
Goodell
Hurts.
Roger Goodell wants 41-34 shootouts.
I
Okay,
want
or he
opportunities.
wants 38-35 shootouts with a field goal, dramatic field goal at the end of the game, walk off. And the kicker is the hero. So
I don't care what he wants. Here's what I want. I want opportunities.
I know.
I want opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah, I want them to have to throw the ball 40 times a game.
Okay.
That means points.
Okay.
Let's get into this fantasy thing, man.
Let the defense be
we're
bad.
going to get into this fantasy
Let's
thing
get
actually
it.
because I'm going to fire up the break. It's
Yeah.
a short break. It's
Right.
about a minute and a half to give everybody a chance to go pee.
Let's go.
Get a drink of water.
Top three guys.
Get your pen.
Now
get your
this-
paper.
now we start.
Because the beginning. If you want to start at the beginning and get the wisdom from the jump,
It's going to be a lesson.
and a lot of people have figured out that this is one of their secret weapons as far as fantasy football is concerned, as far as sports wagering is concerned. Believe me, I've gotten a lot of people give me great feedback, real happy with the content that not only Matt brings, but the insights that John brings, and occasionally if Andrew shows up, he can even say some smart and funny stuff too. But
Minus 130.
break time, fantasy football right after this.
We live a pie on our day. We live a pie on our day.
Yes.
What in there?
We better get going. God knows what the team is doing with just Farmer Fran watching them.
Dios de tan Bobby Boucher on the beer, call that wrong way, reclamación con Bobby Boucher está ahí.
Gonzo Radio.
Shush! Shut up! Shush! Shush! This is a professional podcast, for God's sake. Welcome back to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I'm just all over the place, and we got stuck. We got stuck with the Gonzo Radio Network boob, and not just me. I'm the biggest boob on the network. But after that, those are. Wait, we'll give you a preview of yikes.
Wow.
Never mind. Let me just close that out. Welcome back. We're going to get right down to it, man, because I know some of you are out there going, just shut up. Tell me, what are we going to do? So fantasy football is coming up. We're already seeing mocks. Between the 9 major sites, you've probably got about 14 million mocks that have already gone on. And we're not even through with the free agency, and camp hasn't started.
Nope.
But we do get, what is today? Today is the 7th. We do get the Hall of Fame game
3 weeks?
in 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
It's like the beginning of December right now. It's like Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. I want to go shopping, but it's wait, let me straighten out this shirt. Make sure that we can see Stanley Cup champions. Got to give some shout outs, of course, to Frank, our associate producer now. To Andrew, who I'm sure has lost plenty of money golfing in a mediocre fashion, in this heat too. Oh, so he's probably dehydrated and a couple of $100 poorer, but he also didn't show here, so that's okay. Big shout out to Ed Berliner. I invited him. Hopefully he shows up. And Rob Raymond, of course, professionals. I invite professionals to come look at us, to come watch, to come listen to our twisted wisdom. But I want to go right ahead and thank everybody who has given me feedback and told me, oh yeah, I'm going to watch. You know, Jake, how you doing? Enrique, the mayor, alcalde. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Really, thank you. And I'm saying this because about half of them dropped off, and the break came. Commercial break. They're out of here. Snap! I got to go. Well, you're going to miss the fantasy football segment. I am going to turn it over to this guy over here, to Matty DeMaz, and I'm going to go take about an hour nap. I'll be back. Let me know when you guys are done. And Matty Mad, go!
Here we go. So, no.
Here we go. So, and they're off.
Hey, it's fantasy football, right? This is early in the season.
Barry Sanders.
We talked about 3 weeks until we start. I think that's great. Gives us lots of time. There's a lot of news to digest, a lot of stuff. Before I get into the simple question, it's not a simple question. It's actually a loaded question. My approach this year, while we're doing this show, is going to be pretty simple, guys. I'm going to do my best to take emotion out of my analysis and substitute it with what I see, what's real, or at least what I assume to be real. That hat right there, there was no chance it was ever going to fit in my head. That's not being real. Perfect example. That's a fantasy, truly. There's a reason why they call this fantasy football, right? It's our fantasy. We create fantasy. It's what we think is real. So we're looking at guys right now, and I'm going to use this just one player as an example. And we've talked about him so far for the last hour. But C.J. Stroud, right? The story from last year. The Houston Texans. Everybody's darling quarterback. Fantastic year. Kid played great, right? The numbers were through the roof. He put these receivers, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, put these guys on the map, right? These guys weren't in our vision coming into last year. We can say that, right? So really the whole team was void of our attention and most people's attention. So C.J. Stroud comes on, lights it up. Offense looks like they're really, really good. And they were a story, okay? Now they go and they send Diggs. They go and they get a running back. And everybody is assuming that C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans are going to take that next step. And you know what? They very well may. They may win the Super Bowl. But what's happening now is that us as fans, we have created a value on C.J. Stroud that has never existed. Okay, it's a very high value. And
Would you call it unrealistic?
no, because I don't know what his real numbers are going to end up looking like. So I'm not going to say it's wrong because I don't know. But what I can tell you is that when we make these, when we do our when I do my analysis and I'm looking to pick the result, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prognosticate what we think is going to happen. I'm going to look at this and say, you know what? Great offense, got an additional top receiver, improved the running game. But make sure you're looking at the other stuff. Make sure you're looking at the strength of schedule. Make sure you're looking at the fact that things really kind of fell their way last year. Go back and look at some of the victories. I know they had a much positive, one-score victory margin. So they got a lot of breaks, potentially. These are all these things that are on the other side that also tell the story of last year, but if don't go their way, may not repeat the same story this year. So that being said alone, in terms of looking at it from a realistic approach, when we look at a player and we create a value, we create that value based upon what we think is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
All right? And everybody right now is chasing in the same direction. So all that's going to do is going to raise and continue to raise that value that we're all still chasing. And what I'm saying is that eventually there comes a point when you can look back in most cases and go, you know what, we oversold a player, or that player exceeded the expectation. Man, he still threw for 28 touchdowns. He still only had 7 picks. Maybe they won a playoff game. Whatever the circumstances are, he finished last year, I think, as number 8 or number 9 overall in terms of fantasy points. Now, if everything falls right again and he has a great year and Diggs, has a contribution, whatnot, he may still have the same numbers as last year, which were phenomenal. He may even get 5 more touchdowns. But where does that put him? Maybe it only puts him up to 7, where now we've created a value where we're expecting him to be the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the league. And that's just not realistic. So, again, not to harp on multiple players. You will find multiple players that people are talking about. I'm just saying make sure you look at the entire circumstance and don't assume that every player and every situation is going to be better than it was last year, because that's not reality. Okay, most of these cases it's not true. The schedules get harder, circumstances change, things don't break their way. Okay, so
it's an NFL season.
It's reality, right? And like I said too, things change quickly. So every couple of weeks, it's almost like a reassessment. So maybe going into the season, if everything is on paper and it lines up right, it's going to go well. But we'll talk about other players potentially today even, which we certainly will, because that's going to be the main question that I ask you is, what do we think is going to happen under best circumstances for the best player that we think is going to be taken first?
Give us your top 25. Go.
So, my question to you is, who are you taking number one, John? Number one overall. Boom, you got it.
Well, we both know, we talked about it. Christian McCaffrey seems to be the number one overall pick by a lot of mock drafts. I personally don't see him as the number one running back this year. Mine would be Saquon Barkley as the number one running back this year. But if I'm going number one, Tyreek Hill.
Tell me why not McCaffrey. If you're not on McCaffrey, tell me why you're not going to pick him.
Personally, I don't see him having the same exact season that he had last year. He does take a beating every year, and it is one more year that he did that. He's touching the ball all the time. I just don't see, personally, him staying healthy for a whole 17 games. I think he's going to take a beating this year. People are going to focus in on him even more. And every time that he goes out for a pass, somebody's going to be looking to take him out. So he'll have a good season, but I think that Saquon's new home, the team that he has around him, especially that offense we talked about it, the defense might only be 15th or 16th, but that offense is definitely going to be top 5 with all those weapons and a running quarterback. And now you throw Saquon in there. He can catch, shifty, fast, powerful enough to run through you. I think he needed a fresh start, and I think that Saquon would be my number one running back, but Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins would probably be number one for me.
McCaffrey led the running back squad last year. Second place running back was 70 points behind him. So he was number one. Number two was 70 points behind him.
What did you say? That was Breece Hall?
Yeah, it was Breece Hall.
Breece Hall with the...
Like, I would have never
points.
guessed that.
But going back to McCaffrey being the consensus number one, I've listened to a lot of the expert drafts, mostly best balls, and it's mostly McCaffrey number one.
Well, first of all, back up. Can you explain to our viewers what a best ball is?
Oh, real quickly, best ball drafts are simply you draft the best team that you can. You're not necessarily worried upon a week-by-week production, because what happens is essentially every person starts. So they call it set it and forget it. You set your lineup the first time, which is basically the team you drafted, and then it just rolls the entire way. So you're looking for a lot of high ceiling players, which we'll get into more maybe in the next couple of shows as we get into more strategy. But basically guys that have the opportunity to score the most points on a weekly basis. Because there are players we know, 3 or 4 every year, that have great weeks, right? You just can't seem to get him in your lineup that week. He's always on your bench. Well, that guy plays every week. So amongst your entire team, it's the best scores at the assigned positions, just like you do for your weekly, receivers, running backs, and such. And then you just go head to head, essentially week to week, it's total points.
Right.
So total points accumulate, and then depending on how the structure is and stuff like that, that's how your leagues are set up.
An example of a good player for that is like Gabe Davis last year for Buffalo. He has like 4 or 5 games where he explodes or blows up, right? Something like that. Like, you're not looking for like a guy every single week to blow up. It's these players that pop 20 points, 25 points 4 or 5 times a year.
Right. Here's another one. It's a simple term that we all use: handcuffs. Handcuffs are what? Players that we know are going to play 3 or 4 weeks in really good environments that back up studs. And you see it all the time. When they get inserted into the lineup based on opportunity, which you can't predict, they're already on your team. You're already in that position. So a lot of times what you're doing in these best balls, too, as advice is if you're taking like a Nick Chubb, you're taking a Jerome Ford, because you now have the Cleveland backfield. In case one of those guys goes down, you have a starter every week. So those handcuffs may have more value certainly I feel have more value in a best ball setup than do in a season long.
Right, and I mean, speaking of Nick Chubb and Ford and everything, I would even go ahead and get Deontay Foreman and stash him on the back end of my bench.
Yeah, I mean,
I would hold on to that.
Well,
dude.
These rosters, the smallest roster I've seen are usually like 25 spots.
Right.
So you draft from now until like Tuesday. I mean, literally, it's like the drafts last forever. But you need a full roster, because in every best ball I've ever done, baseball, football included, by the time you get to the end of the season, I mean, you got one or two guys leading your squad, and everybody else is pretty much fighting down near towards the middle because of missed time and injuries and whatnot. And so, you really need to balance your roster out into such that you have a lot of high ceiling guys, but you need some consistency. You need guys that are gonna play every day, especially in football in a short season. Baseball is forever. Football is 17 weeks. So you got to get in and go.
I've actually heard people complain about players that only average 14 points a week. I'm like, only average 14. First of all, if a player averaged 14 points a week, you want a guy like that on your team.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You want an average like that week in and week out.
Yeah.
Okay, but so don't complain about weekly average scores. Okay, because the only way that you can mitigate that or make that better or worse is playing your matchups.
Yeah. You know what?
Okay.
I didn't come to the table prepared today to discuss that, but it made me think.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Because what I'm going to say is that I'm going to bring in what I feel is the floor of where we need to be, you need to be for scoring.
Right.
Whether it be not just for the daily, for DraftKings or stuff like that, FanDuel,
Right.
you do FanDuel, but for your season longs too, and positionals. Like
Yeah.
for instance, your flex. The flex position is sometimes a throwaway position, but in your mind, like you're saying, give me 14 points a week in my flex.
Yep.
Then that's something that if you have that on your bench, not even in the starting, I mean that would be fantastic. But if you've got it in your pocket on your roster in a season long, then certainly that's value. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying. But if you have 7 guys that their ceiling is 14 points, that's not good.
No.
Okay?
Yeah, that no.
So, you want to
Average.
You want to know where these players fit and how they fit your particular team. So that's important as well. But I'm going to come prepared next time, the next time we're on the air, and know what we're trying to hit, what those numbers
It
are.
won't be here. It'll be in Coconut Creek.
Yeah. So,
That's why this is the last tango in Pompano.
yeah. Anyway.
So then who's your first pick?
Well, I don't know. It's not going to be McCaffrey. I'm going to run from the first pick. We were talking about this.
That's okay. I'll take him.
In all the years that I've been in drafts,
I'll take him. No
and
problem.
it's got to be several hundred leagues. I don't remember ever having the first pick. Now by design, I know I've implemented, fortunately, at least suggested, and they've implemented, is when you get to your draft, and you should do this as well. Typically, the ball you get is where you draft. You get the one ball, you draft first. But I feel you get the one ball, you should pick where you want to draft. Now,
Well,
again,
that's the way we have with the club draft.
and that's great. That's something that we've done over the last few years. But I think, again, anytime you can introduce more strategy into your drafts, I think it's a plus, right? You're trying
Sure.
to make it more complex. Not complex, but just more competitive.
Sure.
And I feel like for me, you're asking me the one, I'm giving Gonzo my one. So you're sold on one?
Woohoo!
Who are you taking on one?
McCaffrey.
Great pick. So, I
Great
just,
pick.
I'm out. I can't do it. I can't.
Great pick.
John, who are you taking at number 2?
If I picked Hill, probably be AJ Brown.
Not Hill?
Hill's first though. You said if I had
No.
Oh well, yeah.
You
Hill.
have 2.
If I have Hill
You're gonna take
on
Ty
that
Hill.
board at any time that I'm picking in the
You
first
take a
round,
Reek.
Hills, yeah.
Reek 10.
He should
All
have
right,
a
so there you
monster
go.
season.
So who you taking at number 3, Matt, since you've chosen number 3?
I haven't chose 3. I want 9. And I don't
Wanna be
know.
last.
I'm probably taking AJ. If you're taking, you took Hill and Brown are gone?
What?
No,
I'm
Hill.
taking
Hill
Tyreek
and
Hill.
Brown. And Brown.
No,
And
not
AJ
Brown.
Brown is my top 2, but I didn't realize the question that he asked. He asked
The
if
question
I had
is,
number 2
we're
after he
drafting.
took
We're
McCaffrey.
drafting right now.
All right.
He
Okay.
picked McCaffrey.
I took
have
McCaffrey.
number
He
2.
took Hill.
I'm taking Hill.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you're taking a 3.
I'm taking AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's probably going to be pretty chalky.
Brown is not the 3 normally.
He's
because
ninth,
McCaffrey would have already been taken.
And
So
Lamb
that
seems
slides
to be
him
the
down.
best wide receiver taken, right?
That's
Lamb?
what I mean. McCaffrey
Lamb-
and Hill being gone.
Lamb is also, but
Then Lamb
I don't
gonna
want
hit it?
any part of the Cowboys and any part of this mess in his contract and any part of anything. So
Right.
enjoy. So I'm not on Lamb either. Again, I am not looking to fall into the ADP. The ADP, I'm not going to say it's a trap, but what it is
It's a trap.
it puts an idea in your mind that if you don't get, or if you do get, a player in or out of the round that they say you should get him, it's either a value or a bust. And that's not the reality of any of this. And we show it year after year. Going back to the first round pick, well, again, taking emotion out of this. Everybody loves McCaffrey. And he may have been doing the same thing he did last year, blowing us all out of the water. They may go to the Super Bowl, whatever the case, and everything is roses, right? The guy is number one overall, and that's great. But history is telling me a different story. There's too many boxes negatively to check. It's the age, it's the offense, as good as they are. What if they're in a plus situation towards, when you need him in those weeks, 9 through 12, 13, and they're not on the gas, or they don't need him to be on the gas? Do you think they're going to put him out there and get the same touch environment he had before? No. So everything has to fall perfect, in my opinion, for McCaffrey. And oh, by the way, when I say history, every year, every draft, half of these picks in the first round don't get to value. And some of them miss terribly, okay? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to McCaffrey. But what I'm saying is that you are already flipping a coin. Why would you flip a coin and know that you have additional risks?
Upside.
You have downside as well.
Yeah, but upside.
Yeah, you're looking for upside,
Yes.
and you don't have it. You have more risk.
Yeah,
So-
listen, I
So
understand.
you're at 50% already,
Right.
And now you're even lower because I'm introducing to you factors that are real, and that have real narrative to them.
Yeah, I understand that, but and I understand the concept of once you get into week 14, 15, 16, and let's say San Francisco's got the draft choice, or excuse me, the playoff spot locked up, and then let's say by week 15 they've got the division locked up, or the division and the conference locked up. Home field advantage, everything goes through San Francisco. Week 15, 16, 17, you're not going to see him. Or 16, 17, 18.
You may not.
You're not going to see him.
That's big.
He's going to come in and get 3 or 4 carries in the first quarter.
Right.
And then here it's the Elijah Mitchell
So
show.
in your perfect
So
scenario,
draft is handcuffed because the guy's going to help you win a lot of games and get you into the playoffs.
But that's only for best ball, that handcuff thing. You wouldn't want to do that in your actual fantasy.
Yeah, you kind of would, because I mean we've seen it in the past here with Elijah Mitchell and with Jeff Wilson Jr., who's now a Miami Dolphin barely.
All right.
You've seen that the backup in San Francisco, when they get a chance, they're scheme backs. So you're gonna get about the same production. Close.
Okay, now here's my argument to what you said. Even though you're right,
Okay.
you would.
'Cause I wanna fight.
You would want to go get his backup, and that is the handcuff we talked about.
Right.
But what you're doing now is you're putting 2 strokes on the paper as opposed to just relying on the
You're
first
covering
stroke.
your ass.
But what if it doesn't fall your way? You're creating another situation that you have to go get and fill a spot. So you're already taking not only a spot on your roster to have to go get his handcuff, which means that you're forced in that decision to not take the best player available at that moment.
That's what I'm trying to
That's
say. There's
one.
got to be better running backs
Hold on.
available than his backup.
Well, again, there's
In
nothing
the
wrong
15th round?
if available. But what you're doing is then you're forcing yourself. You're assuming your first paint stroke, which is McCaffrey, goes to plan because that's why you're taking him there. But then in order to secure that, you need a second coat. And that second coat takes away from the overall value of what your team is. Because now 2 things happen that are not good. One, if it fails, which is what you don't want to happen, maybe you're a little bit protected. You're never going to return that full value when you need it most, which is, again, in the playoffs. The strength in your argument is true. You want to get there, and then you worry about it. I'm like that, too. I want to have as much as I can in the first step, crush it, set a tone, and then continue to work and build. Because I have confidence I can do that. But in reality, you are not getting the maximum out of that first pick overall. And regardless of how you got there, it's how you finish. Because we're trying to win this. We're not trying to get there. Okay? Half the effing league gets there. So you want to win. You want to win the championship. That's my opinion. So
And it's a valid opinion. And you know what's going to happen now, at least in one of your drafts, okay? You're going to take that 10, 11, 12 spot, and then McCaffrey's going to slide all the way down.
no chance.
And you're going to let McCaffrey slide into the second round because he's just going to go right by
No
you.
chance. He'll be gone.
He'll be gone?
He's
You think
not-
so?
He's the number 1 pick.
Are you sure?
Consensus.
Are you
He's
sure?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just saying.
I'll quit fantasy football. If
This-
any,
McCaffrey's not getting out of the first round.
any league that I'm in,
no league.
if
brother.
any league that
None.
I'm in, he gets
None.
out of the first round. I will.
All right.
I'll be shocked if he's
Yeah.
picked 5 or bottom, like
But-
top 5 for sure.
But
Not going on a whole tangent again, but getting past just McCaffrey again. That first round strategy, what I said. Anybody go back and check the math. I've done it for years. Is that half these picks fail. Flip a coin, win, fail. Doesn't matter how smart you are. Doesn't matter how smart I am or he is. Half of them fail. One of us, and if you can cut half your body off, are going to fail with our first pick. Okay? Doesn't matter how much you do, no matter how much I do, no matter how much you do, that's a reality. Okay? So the point is that while you're doing all that work, at least try and present the real perspective, as opposed to creating a scenario in which you think a player is going to succeed. What I'm saying this year is not so much be devil's advocate, but lean towards devil's advocate, because everybody else is leaning the other way. And typically, if you do the opposite, or at least maybe not the opposite, but a little pivot from the reality of what everybody else is doing, it becomes a success because it's now yours, and you can identify with it and build and change it and modify it, and maybe eventually you end up on the same road again. But at least you're better when you get to that road because you've learned it a different way. That's my whole thing about this entire perspective.
Okay, I'll accept that, but okay, let me ask you this theoretical or hypothetical question. The draft order has been determined by randomizing via, I don't know, ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're number one. You can't get out.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to trade out with you. Okay, who you taking?
I'm taking McCaffrey and I'm trading him the next day. No, I'm probably taking Tyreek Hill.
You're going to take Reed.
That's
Probably
probably
he's
my
gonna
number
have
one.
him. He stays healthy.
Yeah.
This season's gonna
And
be
again, not to go the Dolphins' defense this year is not going to be very good. So
Really?
the fact that they're not going to be very good and their
We're
offense
recording this,
and
you know
your
that,
coach.
right? This is going to be on YouTube
You're
right
asking.
now. I didn't record this because I didn't want to tie up hard drive space on this poor old computer because we run this computer to death. But
Okay, now,
I'm recording this.
Everything I'm saying is based on
because I
numbers.
think Anthony Weaver is going to be a very good defensive coordinator. I think he's going to improve the defense.
All my analysis is based on numbers. Maybe the
We'll be top
Dolphins.
15.
Maybe
That's okay. We'll be here for you.
maybe the Dolphins win 13
maybe
games.
If we get Andrew to come back here, we'll have 3 Dolphin fans give you the business.
Yeah, maybe they win 13 games as a team this year, and the defense is serviceable. But in terms of numbers,
Serviceable.
in terms of statistics, they'll, like John said, they're gonna fight their way to get inside to be a mediocre defense. So
I can agree with that though, Gonzo.
Yeah.
I think our offense, we're gonna have to play like I told him yesterday, like 2004 to like 2014 New Orleans. We're just gonna have to score more points than people. That's just. And I'm
bottom
fine
line
with
is
that.
this: Tyreek Hill led the league in targets last year, led the league in points last year, behind McCaffrey. Again, that's their goal. That's what their mission is. That's what they have to do. And their defense is worse than it was. So give me all these scenarios, and again, you're trying to make a guess of what's going to happen.
All right, well, I'll give you a scenario. Okay, we've already heard that the defensive philosophy is going to be aggressive. Okay, aggressive, blitzing, coming after the quarterback, get him, bump and run, man coverage, get your hands on the wide receiver, stop him at the line. Which, by the way, we have 2 of the best in the business on our outside boundaries. Okay, 2, not just 1. We went and got Kendall Fuller, highly underrated, at least top 5, and of course we got Ramsey, who's the first one or 2 best in the league. Okay, so that being said, it's going to be a different defense. That being said, if the pressure is successful, which it might not be in the first month or so, until we get Phillips back, till we get Chubb back, and they get up to speed. But I can guarantee you, and since we're recording it right here, okay, that those defensive numbers will be better across the board. Their impact on wins and losses will show. Okay, there's going to be times when that defense is going to flat out win the game, whether it be by turnover or sack, and take the other quarterback, take the quarterback out of the equation, not out of the game, but out of the equation. That defense is going to show out. And like I said, maybe not the first month, maybe not the first 6 weeks, maybe not until Chubb and Phillips both could get back up to speed. But you know what? That'd be a really good time for them to get back up to speed in early November.
Plus, we got Holland and Poyer back there
Right.
at safety, so it's
Right.
like at least the passing defense should be decent. I'm worried about the run. Without Wilkins, I think teams are going to try to take advantage of the meat in our
I
defense.
think you're going to see something a little different.
Yeah?
I think you're going to see something a little different because Fangio's system put a lot of onus on the defensive tackles. It put all the onus on the defensive tackles, and that's fine because Fangio recognized where his most talented players were. Sealer and Wilkins were his most talented guys. That's with Chubb on the field. That's with Phillips on the field. They just are, okay?
I have a feeling most people want to know, is onus spelled with an H? Does it start with an H?
It's O-N-U-S, you Philistine.
Just curious.
Jeez, must be a Philadelphia-Pittsburgh thing. I don't
Onus.
know what it is. Is it a Pennsylvania thing?
I don't know. Bonus, honus. I figured you just add an H.
And
it'd be the
what's,
same.
and what's bonus spelled with? A B.
A B.
And what's after that?
O.
And.
N. U. S.
Uh-huh. Now
M-O-U-S-E.
take the B away.
Onus.
Anyway, I think that they upgraded at linebacker.
Could be silent.
I think they upgraded at linebacker. I think they upgraded depth at the linebacker position. I think they upgraded the depth at the safety position. I think they're not done going getting guys at the safety position. I think they may go get Micah Hyde. We'll take Buffalo's whole entire defensive backfield from them if we got to. Okay? But that defense is going to be better. That defense is going to have more impact. That defense is going to get turnovers. That defense is going to score. That's one big difference between the defense from last year and the year before. Remember 2022? Those guys were scoring points. Those guys were pick six. Those guys were sack fumble. Zach Sealer was scoring points. Okay, so don't sit here and tell me Anthony Weaver is going to bring a lame defense and that the personnel is bad. All right? So what?
Humidity is spelled
ranting.
with an H. It's humidity. You spell it with an H.
You pronounce the H.
Humidity.
Hugh.
I was just gonna say, but you pronounce
Humidity.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Did you hit your head? He's got CTE.
I didn't Google that.
How do you get CTE from podcast?
Onus,
Look-
humidity.
look at you.
Right.
You're obviously annoying somebody because people are texting me in right now. I'm getting feedback about you.
Can I tell you that, your Dolphins defense is not going to be the same as it
Oh
was
my
last
God.
year.
Okay,
That's all.
fine. Sure.
Do you want my
After that
analysis?
whole ramble.
No, you're right. Everything you said is right. You guys know your team, and you guys understand, the ins and outs, whatever.
I
get
know
it.
your team
But
too.
I know math, and math tells me that, and based on some losses, some additions, and some analysis, I think you guys are an average defense right now.
No, average though. I don't think
Yeah.
we're saying they're top five. I think
No.
that we're not going to be a
And
bottom
I'm,
dwelling
and,
like
and
last
I'm
year.
telling you, the first couple of months might be a little rough.
Right, okay.
You may be right until November 1st.
Well, again, when it all balances out, and whether it's good early and bad late
Once
or
we
whatever.
get to Thanksgiving,
Okay, well,
we get to that Thanksgiving
that's
game.
fine.
You're going to be like, oh.
Over under on the Dolphins being ranked fantasy points. That's all we're talking about. At least I.
Oh,
do.
okay.
I'm going to say they finish 17th in the NFL in terms of defensive fantasy points allowed,
defense.
which is just below.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
just below average. Now I think
Security.
Tyreek Hill
Floor.
has hopefully, again, if I'm first pick taking him, has at least the year he had last year, which was amazing. I mean, 1,700 plus yards. He didn't get to the 2,000 number. Who cares? But I mean, he's a difference maker on the field. At any point, can win you a week. Can put up that 30
there were
plus
weeks where
fantasy
you were
points
like
week.
34, 38 points. Like,
Yeah.
holy cow.
But-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you want to go there? Okay. So let me ask you this: since we've seen so many young quarterbacks get paid in the offseason now, offseason has been quarterbacks and wide receivers have been getting paid. The market has just caught fire, and it's a matter of one-upmanship.
Yeah.
Okay. Does Tua Tagovailoa deserve more than Jared Goff? More.
What is Jared Goff making?
He's averaging
A lot.
53
Oh, then no.
mil.
As soon as you said 50, I don't even need to know the other number. Tua is not worth $55 million.
And why do you say that?
0-11 in games under 45 degrees. Hasn't won a playoff game yet for us. I don't blame him last year too much because our team was decimated when we went to game. And that wasn't cold. That was like, why are we even playing football cold? Like, that was minus 11 degrees or some nonsense.
That
Like, I
was
don't
that
get
was
it.
a little thing called
a lot
fuck
of
Miami
games-
because that's what they do is that's what sports leagues do is fuck Miami and whatever they want. But go ahead.
A lot of our games in January, December, even if we make it to February, are going to be in cold weather, man. It's how it's going to be. And if Tua cannot win in the cold weather, then we're just playing for a regular season and one and done in the playoffs. I would pay him 38, 39. He deserves to get paid. 50 Mahomes money? I can't do it for Tua, man. I can't.
Let him lead the league one more year in yards and then trade him.
Well, how about this?
That's unpopular.
The wisdom was already passed along a week after Goff got his money. Okay, and minicamp came around, and Tua was asked, you think you're going to get your money? And all he had to say was, the market's the market. The market's the market.
Yeah.
Okay? The market's the market doesn't take into account half of what you just said. Doesn't win games when it's cold, doesn't win games of this, doesn't do that. Market don't care. You know what the market cares about? The final statistics. Those final numbers, game started, completion percentage, yardage, touchdowns, all of that.
Playoff wins.
They don't care. The market don't care. The market doesn't care. Yes, it may influence the top end. It may influence the guaranteed money. Okay? But the market does not care. So what you'll see is you'll see him get an average at about Jared Goff money, but there's going to be a lot of incentives. There's going to be a lot of prove-its.
We'll see. Okay, maybe
Okay.
I should have. That's something that I wouldn't mind doing.
Okay.
38, 39 million, 4 million for this, 2 more for that. You know, then incentivize them to get to 50 maybe, because now you have to reach those goals and show me that you were worth the money that I'm paying.
It's going to be over 50. It's going to be over 50. It's going to be like 55.
Do either of you guys enjoy in any aspect of your life feeling stuck? Like you can't move. Like whatever the circumstances are, whatever's put you in the corner.
Well, this is what I was just going to get at.
So-
We pay him 55 million. Tyreek leaves.
When
and,
I-
like, he's not a quarterback that can carry
In
the team like
these-
that.
Whoa. Time out. First of all, okay, I disagree with that. I disagree with that because we saw evidence of it his rookie year. We saw evidence of it his second year. And true or false, he was playing under chaotic situation, a chaotic environment. Okay, but we saw a young man step up and do what we saw in college. He led. He came off the bench and won a game. Okay, he was highly efficient, and he was dealing with chaos. He was dealing with, he had line cooks on the front line, not linemen, line cooks. He had Uber drivers. He had guys who come off the couch 2 weeks before and got coached up, and he's at guard. So I've seen the man's character. I've seen his ability to lead and carry the team. And here we are in his 5th year now, coming up on his 5th season. Okay, that character is shown. So do I think he can carry a team? I can think he can lead a team. So
Leaders also
what?
are generals and
Yes.
other people, and sometimes, unfortunately, you lead.
I'm ready to fight. Let's go.
You lead your team in the battle, and the battle doesn't go your way.
Right.
So
Sure.
leaders are great, and
Yeah.
we need leaders. Teams need leaders, but
Like Russell Wilson.
But sometimes people die in the foxhole, and that's unfortunate reality. So that being said, I don't like being stuck. None of us like being stuck. The Dolphins will have to be in a position because, like Tua understands too, in his favor.
Pay the man.
They are stuck because market
Bam.
will dictate sort of how the circumstances play out. Unfortunately, the Dolphins will have to assess all those things you're talking about and what you've mentioned, which is how good is he in the most important of situations.
Yes.
I don't think that he is a physically powering quarterback. Like his physical attributes don't outweigh his accuracy, his leadership. Those are complementary pieces, but in games like you've explained, weather, circumstances, you need physicality, you need other aspects that he may not have or may never have. And it's not just one person saying it, it's a multitude of people saying it. So again, when we paint these pictures, we like them to be a certain way, but they necessarily aren't that way. And unfortunately, the Dolphins, like we talked about, and I say being stuck, market will dictate what are their options. What else will they do? They can't cut them. Maybe a trade if there's something on the other side willing to take the risks that the Dolphins.
He's going to get his
that
money,
the Dolphins
and I know
won't.
that.
Yeah,
I'm just
listen.
saying, if I'm the owner, it's really hard pill to swallow for someone that is a great regular season quarterback, and he is. I mean, look at the stats. When it's warm weather, he'll destroy your team.
I think you're seeing a pattern now of more and more younger quarterbacks coming out early on and being successful.
And they just paid Trevor Lawrence, so now he's going to be able to be like, he hasn't won anything either. They paid him. You got to pay me, and I get that. Like Trevor Lawrence is going to have them stuck.
But what if the next GM, what if this GM, what if whatever GM decides that, you know what, the smartest path to take is the path that other teams are taking, which are go get a young guy, don't pay him because you can pay everybody else. and you get a guy that can move, a guy that can run an offense, and other players around him that are the stars that can get you to where you want to be. Because these are all teams are playing for the title.
Well, it also begs to question, where's Trevor Lawrence's playoff win? Where's his cold weather game? Where has he carried a damn thing?
Yeah.
Okay, where?
Yeah.
So the market is the market.
Here's the difference between him
The
and
market
Tua.
is the damn market.
The difference between him and Tua is Trevor looks like the prototypical quarterback. Size, strength, arm strength, all that stuff.
Okay, and
he
he's got
also
pretty long hair.
Wait,
so
there's more. He also grades out differently in some of the peripheral stuff like deep ball percentage, stuff like that. Now, Tua is also very good at that as well. But I'm just saying that we don't have to, like I talked about, strokes of paint. You don't have to make the environment necessarily perfect for Trevor, because there's going to be times where Trevor can do certain things that Tua can't.
Wait.
That's just
let's remember,
whatever it is.
Let's harken back to his rookie year when he had Urban Meyer as we'll call him a head coach, the guy who was portraying the head coach.
The interim almost head coach.
And Trevor Lawrence was a basket case.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Even worse so than Tua in his first season with a still gimpy hip, sucking it up and trying to play.
Right.
All right, so that's apples and oranges. Okay, I'm tired of the goalposts being moved on this kid. I'm tired of it. Quit the nonsense. Quit the bullshit. Okay, Chris Greer, pay the man what he is worth. All right, and then you know what? If you reap the returns, okay, he
What's he worth? You're saying
he
what's
beats
he worth?
playoff teams. He wins a playoff game.
How much?
He goes to Kansas City again, and he wins in 2 below 0. Okay, pulls a win out. Actually, it'd probably be the running game that would pull the win out. Okay, you reap those returns, and then you got your money's worth. Is that what it is? You got your money's worth?
If that happens.
Okay, well, let me ask you, does Trevor Lawrence have to give his money back if he goes up and plays in Kansas City and loses?
No, but
under the same conditions?
No, but the metrics are telling you that he has a better chance of
Yeah, but
winning
I'm just
long-term.
sick and tired
That's
of the
all.
goalposts getting moved on this kid.
That's reality, though. These guys, these GMs, this is what they do now.
No, that's surreality.
Well, okay. Listen, I would have not in a real world paid Trevor either, but Trevor Lawrence is closer enough to not being as stuck as the Dolphins would be, is if the Dolphins had to pull that.
So you're giving
trigger
Lawrence
today.
a better upside, is what you're saying.
100%. Long term, number
I'm
one.
going to have to ask you to leave.
And also, too, I just think they're different quarterbacks. I just think Trevor Lawrence, they're just different quarterbacks.
I'm the same way with Purdy. I wouldn't pay Purdy $55 million.
Yeah, right now I wouldn't either.
Because if you took Tua and Purdy, because they're both kind of like the same players, super smart, super accurate.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
have
they
the body
have-
of work yet either, though. He's a couple of years behind.
But he's also played in 2 Super Bowls, or went to an NFC Championship game and played in a Super Bowl. He's got like experience that Tua has. But either way, just the players in general, you put either one of those guys on Kansas City this year, they don't win no championship, no way, no how.
Yeah.
So if you're going to pay someone Mahomes
Well,
money,
Mahomes is special.
that's why you pay him special money. But
Right,
that's what I'm
but-
saying. The market's getting out of control, paying everybody $50 million because they have a Q and a B on their jersey.
All
It's
right, well,
nuts.
Go ahead, Matt. You have something you want to say?
We can't even compare anymore from one contract to the next because they're going up so quickly that we're trying to say, well, he's not worth his contract. He's not worth his contract. The guys aren't even worth their own contracts.
Yeah.
So the next guy up is certainly not going to be worth the guy behind him. And we're comparing this to Mahomes and everybody else. None of this ever hits
It's
value.
moving too quickly because
Yes.
I think when Cousins signed that
It's-
$100 million guarantee, that was phenomenal. You were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Now it's already up to 250, 270,
It's the
290.
business of the team
That's
to
nuts.
come within the salary cap
It's-
that has been formulated and is implemented in the NFL. And they have certain parameters they have to stay within to make that happen. That's how it works. If you want to pay your quarterback 30% of your team, go ahead. But he better give you 30% of the production. And actually, the math isn't even that. It's probably twice that.
Well, the
He's got to give you more than what you're paying him.
And no team wins Super Bowls when they have like more than 30% of their like cap space on a quarterback. Nobody's done it.
There's a reason for that.
Because you can't put pieces. Then you got us 3 playing wide receiver
Because-
if you're paying him $300 million. I mean,
Because it's
Well,
improbable.
general managers have learned from this, okay? Because what you're seeing, since we're using Mahomes as the example, okay, we're seeing that gigantic contract has already been reworked twice. Okay, reworked twice. So what you're seeing is these gigantic quarterback contracts. They're credit cards. their credit cards. They're kicking the can down the road. As simply as I can put it, they're kicking the can down the road to when they do have the money down the road.
But that's a restructuring.
That's a
contract.
restructuring.
These
exactly.
guys we're talking about are all first-time hits.
So they're using the quarterback contract as a piggy bank to go back in and pull equity out of, if you will. Okay, using real estate finance parlance. Okay, they're pulling equity. So you need $7 million here, $12 million there. You go at the beginning of the season, you see, okay, we got to pay this guy. We got to get these guys go. I need you to do a restructure for me. Sure, what? We're going to give you more guaranteed money this year. Your whole entire contract, your whole entire salary is going to be guaranteed this year, and then we're going to kick the can down the road again. Okay, well, that's what they do. That's simply what is done. You're going to see it happen. I can guarantee you, you're going to see it happen with Trevor Lawrence. You're going to see it happen with Jared Goff. Okay, they're locking up that money so they know where it is, so that they know how to spend it later.
You are right, but Buffalo just did that. Right. They kicked the can down the road, and what we're saying is now they've lost their whole team because you did that. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
if you don't win within that window,
their strategy is we've got good young wide receivers, and we're going to draft a wide receiver, and we're going to draft 2 wide receivers actually, and we might have a little bit of a fallback this year.
Well, why do you think the Patriots, for as long as they did, had a dynasty? Because Tom refused to take that type of money and say, no, I need Edelman to win, and I need Gronk to win, and I can't lose those guys, or we're just out here with me.
But his last 4 years, they kicked the can down the road, okay, so that he could have more guys to play with.
They won 5 already.
Right, and he still kicked the can down the road to help the team out. Well, guess what? They ended up having to pay him anyway. On his way out the door, he grabbed a $56 million check, stuck it in his pocket, and said,
yeah, because he was done with them already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then he went and fleeced
You're paying these
for
players,
$50
though, that type of money before they've ever won a playoff game.
Okay.
That's a lot.
This guy won
That's
6
hard.
championships and then said, I'll take my check now.
I understand that, but he is the blueprint on how to deal with an overpaid quarterback.
This is my
point. Or the
point.
quarterback position.
That's my point about how people, these athletes are never going to hit that number in terms of value. They're just not.
Okay.
Now, but fortunately, value is created. So my value is different than your value. If a team thinks value would be 1 Super Bowl win by selling their souls essentially because they have to do this and whatever the case may be, then they do it.
LA Rams.
Then they do it. I mean, I don't think the Dolphins are looking at signing Tua as selling their soul because it doesn't guarantee them a deal. But the part of the selling the soul aspect right now is that, again, teams overall, not just the Dolphins, are stuck. The Jaguars were stuck. Okay, they had to pay him.
Look at Denver last year.
Hopefully, we're looking at it just on the surface as just numbers. 50 million, 60 million, this is this. Nobody's ever been paid that. We're right, okay, but does it matter for the NFL? Probably not, because they have to then take the rest of their money and pay the rest of their team. And we're going to know pretty quickly if his contract's going to be worth it, because none of us say it's going to be, so it probably won't be. We're probably right. But again, we're probably going to be right when they sign Tua. We're going to be right when whoever gets their next contract. We're going to be right consistently, because the NFL has to look at this as a problem and understand that unless all the teams make a shift, whereas then no quarterback now, like the running backs, get paid, because they're not paying running backs anymore. Because they can't. Because, again, that's the one cut that's been made on these teams, is that since we have to pay the quarterback so much damn money, after running backs, and they don't get anything, they just get cut after they didn't even get their first contract. That's not good for the league. So they're going to have to address that too. So something has to be done. The NFL is the only one that can step in, sit with the players, get this worked out, and understand that what's the difference now if you make your money day one? In terms of this contractual agreements.
The genie's out of the bottle already.
Go out and just, if you want to guarantee these players money, have the agreement be between the organization, force the organizations to an extent to have post agreements. After the contract is expired, based on service time, they can work these equations out and figure it out. Fuck, they're still paying Bobby Bonilla 30 effing years later for the Mets. You think they look at next year and go,
Orioles
we got to
still
give
paying
Bobby
him
$1 million this year. How are we going to pay our shortstop?
The Baltimore Orioles are still paying Bobby Bonilla.
It's ridiculous. So there are ways. These are billion-dollar franchises and owners paying millions.
Well,
it doesn't equate.
I've heard one.
Figure it out.
I've heard one end result of this spending spree and this methodology of kicking the can down the road, using a quarterback as a credit card, if you will, is there's going to be a new CBA. And this time the owners are going to dig their heels in and they're going to say, you fucking want a profit margin. And that's exactly what they're going to say.
Well, there's so many, but right now you have to think about this for the
There's
business.
going to be a problem. There's going to be labor strife in the near future.
No, what's going to happen is the league's going to make even more money through revenue stream now because nobody is showing a game anymore for free. You have to pay to watch a
Right.
Thursday
Oh,
night
yeah.
game.
They're scrambling
So
right now.
right now they're making hand over foot the NFL. They are not poor.
Yeah, wait till those
Billions.
Wait till those networks contracts
Billions
expire.
and billions of dollars. Okay.
Well, they're getting sued for billions of
Well,
dollars.
they can pay it. Okay.
You know, over the whole NFL Sunday ticket thing, they're getting sued for billions of dollars.
The NFL has been good about getting ahead of most things.
Okay.
No, overall,
I agree.
Rule changes are constantly trying to make the game better and safer.
Well, and that's the whole quarterback pay
They've done
thing
an
too.
excellent job of promotion. They've done an excellent job of policing. They've done an excellent job of making the product worldwide. All these things are all pluses. What they are failing at is the business of the NFL. Because just like in our country, the rich are getting richer and the poor are falling off. And right now what's happening is, let's use the running backs as the below poverty line of the NFL, because they clearly are. If
They're
you
the
can
middle
draw it.
class of the NFL.
Less.
Lower
And
middle class.
You cannot have dissension in the building of any kind at that level and have the best product you can on the field. So ultimately, we're the ones that suffer. We suffer in every way. We suffer in analysis. We suffer in product. We suffer in enjoyment value. And whatever your fan
Ticket
experience
prices.
is, whatever it is, costing us more, it hurts us. But at what level does the NFL at some point say they care about us and make the changes? I say never, because that's easy to do, and why would they? Because they're just getting richer and richer. So we
I'd
fight
like a
through.
nice greeting card.
That's why I remove emotion. My whole goes back full circle. I'm so good at this.
Can
180.
I get a coupon for a free souvenir soda?
Take emotion out of this, and we will enjoy this a whole lot better, because we can yell at each other and still enjoy it, and that's what this should be about, honestly. So that's what I got. Top three guys: Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Jordan Love makes my top three list. By the way,
What?
Top three, what, QBs?
fantasy points, fantasy points,
Fantasy points
fantasy
overall.
points this year. Yes, I'm going with Hurts 1, Allen 2, Jordan Love 3. I think they're going to ask him to run the ball a little bit more this year. Last year he was getting comfortable in the offense. I think this year he has a better handle. I think there's a couple of more tuck and runs, maybe another touchdown or two on the ground. I think that Jordan Love this year in the offense, I think that team is good, and I think he's going to put up some points. So
Name your three QBs again.
in order: Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Josh Love. Going with 3 J's. The triple J.
Jordan Love.
Josh Love.
What did I say? Jordan Love?
You said Josh Love. It's okay.
Because I'm thinking Josh Lowe.
I like Josh. Josh is good.
Because I have Josh Lowe right now for Texas. That's why I've
He
got Josh
can't,
on
he
my mind.
can't handle the millennial J names.
It's going to take me a few weeks to get all these baseball, football things out of my brain. So
All right. Are we done yelling?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then are we done? Have you run your course?
I have so many stats I did over the few days running. back
Bro, he
and forth.
sent me a book. He did. He sent me like 6 text messages. I'm like, Jesus.
Let's just throw this out there. Value. We talked
no.
about players, values, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, he's not done,
We're
folks.
not done.
Hey,
Wide receivers and running
get
backs.
another piece of paper.
Wide-
Flip the legal pad. Go
Wide
ahead.
receivers last year, guys, 3 times, just not the boy with the numbers. They're about 3 times more productive than the running backs are. So when you're looking in the earlier rounds, instead of trying to be focused on filling your roster, which is something we'll get into, please take the next player available. Don't fill your roster. If you need a second running back, you'll find him.
You
Get
will.
him when you need. Get him when he's
Agreed.
At, when
Totally
he,
agreed.
When he best fits your team. Do not pass up a WR2 for an RB3. Okay,
A
don't do
pass
that.
catching handcuff. Gimme,
Don't do
gimme,
that.
gimme.
Don't do that, because remember,
Third down back.
these players, if you have 4 top flight receivers, you can maybe move one at some point and go get your running back at that point. That's going to fill your team. And like I said, also too, this changes from week to week, and the waiver wire is busy. Your team will look a lot different than it will when it
Yeah.
starts. So don't be so concerned about filling early. Get the best player every pick until you get to where you're in handcuff territory, or you're in finally going to go get that quarterback and then maybe another backup, stuff like that.
And in the first couple of weeks, you're always going to have
Yeah.
a waiver guy that's starting to come up, and you're like, oh, who is this? He said, and you can always collect him. So it's not like, and you get in those later rounds, just pick the best player available until you absolutely have
First
to have
8 to
it.
10
Yeah.
rounds, best player, best player, best
Best
player,
player,
best
yep.
player, best player. Don't even worry about who's on your team. If you have 6 wide receivers and 2 running backs, so be it. But those wide receivers, they better be really good. You better be, top 1 or 2 in your league at that position to make that sacrifice.
Kicker.
But if you do so, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So.
Okay. I agree.
Yep.
So we're good?
Yep.
Okay.
We're good.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. This was a lot of fun. I didn't realize how much I missed it. I had been very busy over the spring and the early summer. It's a little nutty in the real estate business. I also took up I work like an immigrant, so I have a third job. I'm pimping peptides right now. The old yeah. Hey, you laugh, but I've lost 65 pounds, bro. I've lost 65 pounds.
I love it.
I've lost 65 pounds.
Should be the name of your business, actually, on the side here.
Peptide.
Pimpin' peptides. Pimpin' peptides. That would
Just
be.
peptides.
That's perfect. That's a perfect business name.
It's the wave of the future, actually.
What's the name of
but
your business? Pimpin' peptides.
It's a beautiful thing. I'm loving it.
It has a real ring, bro.
Love it. Love it.
Seeing real results too.
Business cards are coming.
I'm going to be relocating, moving my home office, if you will, to a different location. Not that I hate it here. Not that it sucks here. It doesn't suck here. But the neighborhood's getting a little dodgy. And it's getting a little loud because I'm here on that intersection of Atlantic Boulevard and Power Line Road. The big Pomp multi-purpose entertainment complex is being constructed 3 blocks away, and just the madness, the noise. It's a cool place to live. Good building, nice building. You guys come in and out here all the time.
Yeah, it's okay.
We have a lush jungle in the front. It's a great building.
It's very nice.
It's very nice.
The landscaping is what draws me every time.
Is wonderful, and we have a nice heated pool.
Yes.
But it's too snowbirdy for me. So I'm moving to a nice gated community.
That's full of dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well,
so you're worried about?
Who are you kidding?
You're worried about
moving to Jurassic Park.
I'm the young guy.
Are there going to be dinosaurs on this tour?
Retreat next time.
They can call me Junior all day long. I don't care.
Brachiosaurus out the window.
There's going to be a bunch of biddies by their porch.
Hey.
Wow, who's that new guy over there?
Hey, just be happy. Just be happy I cleared a spot in my new place, which, by the way, is a little bigger than this one. But I cleared a spot in my new place just so that we could do this silliness on Sunday mornings or Saturday or whatever. So
I'm gonna
you shut up and put some respect on my name.
I'm going to parlay your pimp and peptide business into Geraldine's Geritol business.
You could use some peptide.
Bill Gay.
All right, that's it. That's it. I'm not even going to have to ask you all to leave. You just get out of here.
We're out of here.
We'll be calling and be like, I'm busy. I'm playing Mahjong. I can't come over right now.
It's called Mahjong. Get it right. On behalf of myself and these two wise asses, be on the lookout next month. Hopefully before the start of the regular season, we will come out with the fantasy football extravaganza.
Mock drafts, all that.
Let's go. You cut yourself a nice chunk of time out on a Sunday. We'll even come at you at 11 o'clock or so. Okay, so we'll clear 2-3 hours and we'll go nuts. We'll give you a top 25. We'll give you strategies for various different formats.
Keep it on the reel.
And we'll keep it on exactly. So on behalf of myself and these two smart asses, we'll see you next week from Coconut Creek. This has been the last tango in Pompano, and the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk is out. Peace.